I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities of Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. Today we're going to review the newest album from a metal band called High on Fire. This is a big deal right now. This band's getting a ton of buzz for their latest release, titled Vermis Mysteriis. Sorry, I just completely butchered that. What it means, though, what it means is the mystery of the worm. It's a quasi-concept record, kind of a crazy concept about, and I'm sure one of you guys out there knows more about this, so if you want to leave us a comment correcting anything that we get wrong or don't expand enough on, let us know. But what I got from just doing a little bit of light reading on it was just, Jesus had a twin brother who died at birth and then time traveled and went throughout time, kind of influencing history, saving lives and stuff, kind of as a second coming of Jesus, but it's really Jesus' time-traveling dead baby brother.
Sounds like a Mastodon concept.
It does. It sounds like just like some crazy metal concept. And you know what? Metal bands just love concepts, and they love conceptualizing and theming their albums.
Which is good. I wish other artists would take up that,
It always, I think, if you go back and look at the 470 now episodes that or album reviews that we've done, a lot of the more obscure metal bands, but the metal bands that produce or put out really high quality records, they usually have a concept attached with them. And High on Fire is no different here. And what it does is it just helps bind the sound together. It gives the music warmth and purpose. It makes you understand why they're screaming, why they're playing, their instruments so crazy fast, and
even if the concept is a little strange, a little hard to understand, it still gives it some foundation, something to come back to. And this, as far as the metal sphere is concerned, all the metal music out there.
Try to classify that.
Oh yeah, God, there's so many different kinds of metal. This is definitely kind of prog, but it's not really sharply produced. If you want to compare the sound more to like Baroness or like early Mastodon's work, but they've got that really gruff vocalist, kind of going for a Lemmy from Motorhead kind of sound. So really back to that kind of classic, kind of like southern garage style metal, which I love. It's so dirty and it just works. But the performance chops are up to par, and that's what really gives this album its authenticities. You have that really sharp, really precise sound with the drums. The guitars come in, you can tell the guys just own the guitars, but the production on the guitars is a little dirtier sounding, a little more messy than what you get. Yeah, it definitely does. It makes it much more layered sounding, more multi-dimensional. That's one thing that really attracted me to this album at first. And then once you listen to it several times, getting past that just general like of the sound, I really got turned on to the songwriting things they were doing. The structures, these songs really go a lot of different places as far as the structures go. Now, I think they could have done a little more with dynamics. This album's pretty loud most of the time, and I mean, there doesn't have to be one dimension of loud. I actually think that they were pretty even. They could have gotten even more intense at times. They could have gotten softer at times. It's kind of at a stable middle ground, which kind of put me off it a little bit. Did you have a similar experience with that?
I did, and the one exception I want to make, because I felt very similarly about just the general lack of dynamics. They kept, and I agree with you, that it was loud without being too loud, and loud without being kind of like, it was like they were at fortissimo, never went above that, like 3 Fs. They were just at 2 Fs the whole time, and they never went down to F either, except for the last track. I felt like that track 10, Warhorn, was really the one track where they really got into their a good groove when it came to dynamics. They were able to really add some contrast there, and it made a big difference.
And the interlude track helped too. But that track, being that it's an interlude and that it's instrumental, it kind of sets itself apart from the rest of the album too. I wish that they would have worked some sections like that into the compositions of like the first and last halves of the album, so it would space out a little better, make those loud, intense moments mean even more, make more of an impact, more of a punch.
One thing that I love when any big conceptual record comes, that when you're listening to it, it's easier to digest if it's broken up into 2 pieces. The other reason I love this is because, it's just kind of classy. It's nostalgic to have.
It harkens back to the record
exactly
format.
To have 2 sides to the record. So there's just something that's just classy and classic about having an interlude track like that. But one of the things that kind of goes with that is that you kind of want the same level of quality on both sides of the record. If your front half before the interlude, coming up to the interlude, is really strong, but your back half isn't, that's an issue. And I do think that this album, High on Fire, fails to make the back half live up to the front half. Now, you guys may feel differently, but I kind of felt like tracks 8, 9, and 10, just the album kind of trails off there.
I agree too. The front was way stronger.
I really don't think that there was as a strong a variety of tracks that showed High on Fire's just crazy instrumental ability, really showed that their songwriting powers, these guys know what they're doing when it comes to writing good metal music, and I just felt like they just so much more owned it on the front half. Specifically tracks like Bloody Knuckles, and then my personal favorite, Fertile Green. That is the loudest this band ever gets on this album. They really show off just how awesome they are as instrumentalists, and it's just a rocking, kick-ass song. And they never really reach that point of intensity again on this album. And that's one thing, just looking within a track, looking at dynamics, but also across the album, you want to have a good feel for like points of intensity. It needs to be kind of a wave format if you want to keep people involved. And that's why so many artists, we're going to review one later tonight, Spiritualize, where they'll separate tracks by putting ballads in between, lower points of intensity, separating the high points of intensity. That makes a record feel more balanced. This doesn't really feel like that quite as much.
And this is something that's difficult in the metal realm because so many metalheads out there don't want to think about what they're listening to. They don't want those points of contrast. They just want to rock the hell out. And in a way, I have some respect for that because I get in moods like that too, where I just want things to be loud and abrasive. But also, for us sitting behind this table, really thinking about the music, we always look for something a little more.
Yeah, you guys know us. We go way in depth to this.
And there are tons of metal bands who accomplish this really well. It's not like these guys are terrible at it. They just could have done a little better, I think.
Right. Yeah, this is a very strong metal record. It's just not the strongest we've heard, in the past few years. So overall, I'm liking this album. I think I'm going, 78 on this.
I'm going 81.
Cool. So that puts us, upper 70s on this record. What do you guys think? Are you loving this, hating this? Why or why not? Why is this your favorite metal record if it is? And why are you a High on Fire fan? This is getting a lot of buzz. It has like upper 80s on Metacritic. People are loving this, so it wouldn't surprise us at all if you guys felt similarly. We like it. It's just not the strongest thing we've ever heard, but still a very strong metal release from a great band in High on Fire. Let us know what you thought at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. As always, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, so we can have a musical dialogue. You can give us requests. We can have conversations about the music you're listening to right now. That's what VIMTV is all about. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.